Regan Slaymaker for Radiant.Green, and I have the pleasure to be joined by Chris Hewett, the Chief Exec for Solar Energy UK. Chris, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Perfect, very glad to hear it. Obviously, we're at Solar and Storage Live this year. Obviously, I know Solar Energy UK have a huge role kind of at the event. But kind of how are you finding the event so far, obviously, with a great first day yesterday?
It's a really fantastic event. The fact that it's doubled in size from last year is really a demonstration exactly how well the industry is going in the last year. So we're really pleased. Lots of buoyant industry members we're talking to today. So yeah.
Perfect. I'm very glad to hear it. Kind of obviously Solar Energy UK, as I said, they have a huge role at Solar and Storage Live. But for those that kind of don't know what Solar Energy UK do, give us an insight to the audience on what you guys do and how do you kind of push forward the solar energy space.
Sure. So we're a membership organisation. We're a trade association for the industry. We've got 350 members across the whole sort of value chain of solar and energy storage in the UK. So we're kind of the voice of the industry, really. So yeah, we've been partners of this event for a number of years. Really pleased to be able to use it as that showcase, not just for sort of doing business and exhibiting, but also to bring in speakers like ministers, like politicians, so they can see for themselves what's happening in the industry, and for us as an industry to really discuss what the good things are about the year, but also some of the challenges and how we get around some of the barriers to growth.
Perfect. And I think obviously I've only started working on Solar and Storage Live for kind of a couple of months now, and it's very good. Whilst it is more of a conference, the discussions that happen here, but not so much in the conference, but also in the exhibition, everyone comes together and everyone discusses those challenges as well, and kind of it's going to push forward the solar space as well. You mentioned obviously we have ministers here. Minister Graham Stewart was here yesterday, and he talked a lot about, and also you did as well in your keynote position, that the creation of the Solar Taskforce to power up solar energy in the UK. Give us an insight on kind of what the Solar Taskforce's objectives are, and kind of the support that Graham has given you guys in the creation of that.
So the Solar Taskforce is a genuinely joint government industry initiative. So it's co-chaired by myself and Graham Stewart, the Minister. It has eight different members, senior members from the solar industry, but also UK Infrastructure Bank, the Energy Networks Association, MCS. So it's a real sort of the right people in the room. And our task is to draw up a roadmap for delivering the government and industry target of 70 gigawatts of solar capacity in the UK by 2035. We've been going since sort of September this year. We're going to report a final report in sort of spring 2024, and that will obviously sort of set the scene for what this government and future governments do to deliver solar.
Perfect. Obviously, the solar industry kind of is booming at the moment. It goes without saying, kind of. But obviously, there are still kind of obviously we saw with kind of the Prime Minister's pushbacks the other day. One of the reason was for the pushbacks is kind of they don't want to kind of lose any of the faith of the public who might not think kind of the renewable transition might think it's going too quickly, or there might be a few skeptics in the industry as well. But kind of I've read Solar Energy UK published a report kind of debunking a few of those myths, trying to disprove a few of the skeptics in there. How important is it with the rise of kind of solar energy that we kind of make sure that the facts are present and all the myths are kind of debunked, to make sure everyone is in support of solar and everyone is in support of net zero energy generation as well?
I mean, clearly that this is quite a major change to the way we produce energy in the country, and so there are going to be some people who are concerned, afraid, and that obviously enables those who don't want the transition to happen to promulgate misinformation and fear, etc., around some of the impacts. We as an industry put out a lot of evidence, as you'd imagine, in terms of the benefits that solar farms have for biodiversity, for example, the way which it generally is integrated with agriculture. We work very closely with the National Farmers Union, because it's part of the rural economy now, solar in terms of ground mount, and obviously rooftop is another sector which is growing very fast, and there's another way of sort of powering the future. So what we're seeing from the government is their actual policy, and as evidenced by the 70 gigawatts in the Solar Task Force, is very strong and is pretty much doing what we would want it to do. And I should say the same for the opposition as well. So Alan Whitehead, the Shadow Energy Minister, is going to be speaking later in the conference as well, so he's going to be here too. Both parties are aligned for that, but there are certainly some voices off, particularly in certain parts of the right, probably, who are sceptical and in some places opposed to solar farms. That's something which we're presented the evidence, we think in terms of popularity, the public are more in favour of solar than any other form of energy, including solar farms in their area. But sometimes not all politicians believe that, so it's up to us to really put that evidence forward.
Definitely. Would you say kind of that public perception around kind of solar farms? Obviously, you said it yourself. There's evidence that kind of more people are in support of it than any other renewable energy. But is it kind of the thought of the scepticism? Is that kind of the greatest challenge that faces the upscaling of solar generation, or is it something else?
That is there, but I wouldn't say that's the biggest challenge for us. I think that we'll win that argument and we'll demonstrate the benefits. The biggest challenges that we face in the sector at the moment are grid connections, and that's something which is facing the entire energy sector. But that's something which there is quite a lot of work going on with National Grid, with the DNOs, with Ofgem and with government. And again, both political parties are actually competing now to say they are going to sort out the grid delays. So that's something which we're starting to see traction on. The other area which we're doing a lot of work on at Solar and Storage Live is skills and recruitment. So there's actually sort of a limited skill base for the industry to expand into. Or one of the limiting factors to meet the demand for solar, whether it's ground mount or rooftop, is the number of people we can employ who have the right skills. So we have an installer training hub here, which is a really popular feature for existing installers to keep up to speed with new technology. We also have a new recruitment zone this year, which is again has been absolutely packed out. 100 real jobs being offered, and candidates having sort of conversations with those companies. So that's something we're going to replicate next year, and probably around the regions later next year as well.
Definitely, and make sure to go and say hello to Sturge at the recruitment zone as well. There's an interview dropping with him later on today as well. But Chris, my final question, kind of what kind of are the major few? Obviously, we might have touched on a few already, but what are kind of the major industry trends that kind of you would like to either learn more about at the event, or kind of you think should be discussed at Solar and Storage Live this year?
Good question. I think what's really good about an event like this is you can sort of feel the temperature of where the different technology changes are coming, because that's something which we see as in the solar sector across the world. It's a very fast changing, fast innovating sector. So it enables those who are installing it to sort of just keep up to speed with where the technology is going to, and keep an eye on what's coming in the future as well. So one thing which we are looking at the Solar Taskforce is developing a supply chain in the UK. So it's what manufacturing, what sort of construction, what other jobs in the supply chain can we make sure are based in the UK. So there's a few UK manufacturers here, which is great to see, and also some other parts of the industry, sort of cabling or sort of other sort of elements of deploying solar, which are not necessarily the panels, but are also equally important. And again, to what extent is that can be sort of a growing industry in the UK?
Definitely, I find the solar supply chain stuff fascinating. And if you haven't seen a shameless plug interview with Alan Whitehead that's already out on the channel. But that was my final question, Chris. Thank you very much for giving me your time today, and yeah, best of luck for the rest of the event. Thank you very much. Cheers.